Who is Bill Gates?
We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
Microsoft. And here you can see the sixes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 6, 6.
The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. I think an epidemic, either naturally caused or intentionally caused, is the most likely thing to cause, say, 10 million excess deaths, either naturally caused or intentionally caused. That only happens after the numbers have peaked and are going down a lot and getting down to an absolute level. There are some good things happening. The work on a vaccine, that's going full speed ahead. Our foundation is funding that. We're looking at getting vaccines to everyone in the world. Activities like mass gatherings, until you're widely vaccinated, those may not come back at all.
And what about it? What were you concerned about? I don't know what you mean concerned. What is it about the word concerned that you don't understand? I'm not sure what you mean by it.
You've invested $10 billion in vaccinations over the last 2 decades, and you figured out the return on investment for that. And it kind of stunned me. Can you walk us through the math?
Bill Gates declared vaccines the best investment I've ever made. The Gates Foundation expanded rapidly, controlling every step in a supply chain that reaches from its Seattle-based boardrooms to the villages of Africa and Asia.
So now, Bill Gates, Mr. COVID, Mr. COVID jab, and by the way, Mr. Human-caused climate change, all these things are being told, we're being told to believe by a man you wouldn't trust to tell you the date in a calendar factory. And so now Bill Gates is the biggest owner of farmland in America.
Gates is backing the first high-altitude experiment of one radical climate change solution, creating a massive chemical cloud that could cool the Earth.
Malaria, even the million deaths a year caused by malaria, greatly understate its impact. Over 200 million people at any one time are suffering from it. It means that you can't get the economies in these areas going because it holds things back so much. Now, malaria is, of course, transmitted by mosquitoes. I brought some here so you could experience this. We'll let those roam around the... A few countries that have almost avoided the epidemic entirely, like Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia, they took their experience and actually prepared, and so they moved a lot faster. So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time. It's the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2. I call this pandemic 1.
Right. The economy is not going to be anything like it was. It's going to take a long time to recover. It's going to be, people are going to be surprised at how slow and how fitful this is. Like a long time to recover. It's going to be, people are going to be surprised at how slow and how fitful this is. Like a long time to recover. It's going to be, a long time to recover. It's going to be,
What would you like to see as your legacy in 10, 15 years?
Of the new work?
Of the new work,
yeah.
Of your new function.
Well, I've set very ambitious goals because I'm quite optimistic. If you look at, say, the 20 diseases that our global health program goes after, I'd hope that within 15 years, over half of those, we could have had a very dramatic impact. Huge change in the mortality rates. Certain taxation policies, the UK has different ones. I'm not an expert on any but the US.
Would you favour in the US a higher rate of personal taxation?
Yes.
To what level?
That's fairly complicated to pick an exact level, but I've been a big proponent of the estate tax, and I do believe that income on capital, we could tax that a bit higher.
And when you saw the results of the Senate investigation into Microsoft's tax affairs and the allegation that about $4 million worth of taxes a day wasn't being paid because of the way that Microsoft managed their affairs, what did you think?
I think that's about as incorrect a characterization of anything I've ever heard.
It was the allegation that was made?
No, it's just simply hogwash.
Okay, which aspect is hogwash?
The idea that Microsoft didn't pay its taxes.
It's not that Microsoft didn't pay taxes, it's that they could have paid more taxes.
Voluntarily?
Yes, by choosing to organize their affairs differently rather than running them through Puerto Rico.
Yeah, your numbers are just completely wrong. So,
all right, let me put it another way. As a statement of principle, are you in favor of people paying as much tax as possible?
I think that if your government should pass the tax laws that they need in order to collect the revenue they want to collect. I don't think, saying that people should volunteer to pay taxes is likely to raise that much. It can be tried, but the rules are set. I've paid more taxes than any individual ever, and gladly so. I should pay more, but I paid over $6 billion in taxes.
How do you persuade people that it's their political or moral duty to pay more tax in order that there can be some sort of redistribution?
You make sure that they follow the law and pay their taxes. If they don't, you put them in jail. It seems to work.
Bill Gates, thank you very much.
I'm here in July, and of course I flew in on my private jet. Very, very important meeting. The issue of you peasants eating bugs will be discussed at length. That's never gotten the attention it deserves. The issue of COVID-19 not killing off enough poor people and my vaccines not weeding out the rest of you bastards, which is a tragedy, of course. We'll talk about using killer robots next. Chat absolutely solved that problem.